Back in my garage again. Yes, I know. Fancy living the life. I was just thinking, another random thought. Is it just me? Or when a relationship breaks down, the parent that doesn't. So if a relationship breaks down and there's children involved in that relationship, normally, and I'm not meaning to be discriminative, but normally it's the woman that stays in the house with the kids and the male finds somewhere else to live and starts again as such. Obviously, this can be the other way around. I'm not discriminating and I'm not sexist. So there are also men that stay with the kids in the house and the woman leaves. Either way, let's just say, for instance, we'll go with males because I feel like that's a higher percentage. So you're in a relationship, you've built this life together, you've built these, built these kids together. You know what I mean? You've created children together. It goes wrong, sometimes through your own fault. Sometimes, I mean, it's worse if it's no fault of your own, because I feel like you really get I'm trying to think of not a swear word. You really get shafted. And so, for example, I have a friend who, he was married, didn't work out. From her side, she obviously wasn't a very nice or very moral person, so they split up. They've got 3 kids together. The kids stay with her. She takes all the stuff, she takes the house, and then the guy is literally left thinking, what the actual, like, heck? Like, you're blindsided. Admittedly, yeah, there could have been signs along the way, but anyway, that's not the point of this whole ranty, venty, whatever this is. But then this guy that I know, he has to start over and make a life for himself. And obviously, unless you plan on, oh, there's a possibility my partner could cheat on me, there's a possibility that me and my partner aren't going to be together, you're not going to have any money put aside for the just in cases or the emergencies, because you're obviously hoping your relationship lasts. So most of the time they move back in with, well, it seems a lot more now that men of 35 to 45 age range seem to be moving back in with their parents because they physically cannot afford to rent a house themselves. And also because, and this is stupid as well, also because some estate agents will look and think, a single male, why does he need a 2-bedroomed house? Why does he? And you shouldn't have to explain yourself, because at the end of the day, if you want to rent a property and you're a good tenant, because you have previous references, why does it matter? But they'll question, oh, I'm not sure if we want a single male in the house. So they've got to fight certain systems that are in place. They've got to also then save their money to get a deposit, which is normally what, your first month's rent or something like that. So then you have to get the deposit, first month's rent, all this while still giving money to your ex for your children. All this while still going to work in a very manual, heavy lifting job, and also doing all this on not much sleep because you're getting over a breakup, not much food because you haven't sorry, that should be the other way around. You literally have no money for food. Plus then when you see your kids, you've got to put a happy face on and pretend that it's all okay. And obviously then you need food in the house for them. But eventually when, say, my friend, he got his own place, but then he needed a guarantor. And again, if you've not got family, if you've not got friends, who are you going to have as a guarantor? He found a way, did it all, but, and I was naive to this. It's on me. And I know this isn't the same for everybody, but I do feel like men, and it's very unfeminist of me to say, but I do feel like some men get it harder than others in regards to life after a breakup. So even though this person's got a decent job and is making decent money, all it takes is another little slip. So you might have had a verbal agreement with your ex about how much you're going to pay in regards to child maintenance, but all it takes is her to make a phone call because she knows I can get more money if I go through the CSA. So they go through the CSA, they put an attachment of earnings onto your wage, which is, I'm sure a lot of people know what it is, but it's basically when a company, I don't know if they have to be specific companies like government companies, but basically they can go to the tax people, HMRC, ask your employer, look, we need this amount of money received back from this person, so we're going to take £50 a month. But I don't think, again, I might not be correct, I have tried to listen, but sometimes it's hard when this person's been explaining it to me because I don't understand it fully. So they put an attachment of earning on for your 3 kids, but they can put it all on at once. Instead of breaking it down, it comes all off at once. So once you've taken that off for 3 children, he agrees he has to pay. He's not one of these who says, no, not paying. He agrees, he knows he has to pay for his kids. He's not naive to that fact. And obviously things didn't end fully amicably, so it's the easiest way, I suppose. But then you think, right, the man and the woman, or the woman and the woman, or the man and the man, they've split up. The one who's left the house finally got his own place, or their own place, after however long it took them to save for the deposit, whilst still supporting children and everything else. And then it gets to the point where you have to separate your bills or take names off credit cards and stuff like that. But there are obviously still going to be bills that are in your name that you have to pay for. So say you're bringing home $1,007 a month. For 3 kids, say 450 of that is going onto your 3 kids straight away so you don't see it. Then 150 is council tax. So 4, 5. So that's nearly 600 quid. It probably isn't, because my head has just gone, what? You can't do maths. Anyway, so they're already like 600 down. Bearing in mind they got bearing in mind their salary was 1,007 and the 6 is gone straight away. We're down to 1,001. Everybody knows now the cost of living and house prices and renting, and his rent is £900. So he pays his rent because he obviously needs somewhere to live. He's not living in a palace. It's not fancy. He's not got a swimming pool, nothing like that. It's just somewhere to live. Somewhere for him and his children when they come round to stay. So £900, that's gone straight out. And we're left with, what, a couple of hundred? So within that couple of £100, he's got to make sure he's got food to last for the month and for when his children come round. He's also got to make sure he's got enough fuel to get to the job that's supporting him and supporting his kids. So there's no room for error, as in you can't accidentally spend a few more pounds on a piece of chicken when you go to the shop, because it's literally down to the penny. And it's not obvious, but a lot of the time, these people end up getting themselves into debt, because when it comes down to it, and you've got to choose between eating or paying your council tax bill, most people are going to pick eating. And I think what people fail to remember, like these parents who have separated and say it normally is the weekend they go to their dads. Again, I'm just doing your stereotypical bog standard. I'm trying to just make it really generic. So paying the maintenance, gets the kids at the weekend. So all through the week he's doing a manual job. And again, I'm not trying to make anyone feel sorry, like, oh boo-hoo, he has to work and then look after children. We've been doing it for years, how does he cope? Nothing like that. But everyone's individual circumstances are that individual. But then he has the kids round, and then he either has to think, have I got enough money to take them out? Have I got enough money? Can we do anything with them? So all through the week, he's working a very hard manual labour job. He's not eating because he doesn't have the funds to eat. He's working like your 40 hours a week, really hard work, and he still has nothing to live on. He's got enough to pay for a roof over his head, which he's super, I mean, he's not ungrateful. He's super grateful that he's got a roof over his head. And the rent, that's cheap, especially around here. But then people just assume that the male will be better off, or the person who's separated, the one who's left, will be better off. Like, oh, they won't have to pay for this, they won't have to pay for that, they get to do, and it's like, no, come on, reality. Because that man, that person, could have them children 50-50 custody. But I think what people fail to forget is, who gets the child benefit? Who gets the working tax credit or the child tax credit? Who gets the allowances from their work when they've had to take their kid to the doctors, or they've had to take a week off work because their kid's been ill? And instead of working in, instead of working in a company where they will allow you to do that, and sometimes it's at their discretion if they'll still pay you, you work for a company that literally won't let you fart on their time. It's like, if you got a fart, do it on your own time. So the person who's left doesn't get all these top-ups or all these benefits because they're not entitled to them. If they're working a part-time job, they probably would be entitled to working tax credit, but in reality they can't afford to work a part-time job because it definitely wouldn't leave them with any money. Whilst the parent who's in the house, they've got the house, they've got the roof over their head, they know it's been paid for. They also then will get, so 3 children, you'll get child benefit for 3 children, working tax credit, child tax credit, plus the maintenance. And yet you'll still get some parents who are pretty poopy to the ex-parent, and it's always about money and, well, how this, how that. But the reality is, if you're in a relationship and it ends, both people have to make sacrifices. And why should it be harder for the person who's left? So even it could be a really bad relationship where you're getting treated really badly. Again, it could be someone's cheated. It could be amicable and you've just decided to walk away. But I feel like then the next part wouldn't be such an issue. But to see this person, and I've tried to help, and we've rang the council, we've rang the debt hotlines, we've rang other places, and there's literally no help. If he had a protected characteristic, so if he was homosexual, or if he has a disability of some sort, or if he was in the minority, there'd be help for him, because he'd tick all the boxes of someone's tick sheet, like, oh, yeah, we managed to help someone that happened to be disabled. They didn't speak English, and that sounds really sad and pessimistic, but it's the truth. And some people don't understand or don't want to know, and I can kind of see why you wouldn't want to know, because to think that the world is so greedy, and it's literally just a spinning pound coin, because people just want money. But then, why are we sacrificing someone else's life when they've had to start over again, which they didn't expect at such a later years in life? Why is it fair that they suffer? Why is it fair that they're the ones who are seeing deductions of earnings coming from their wage? Why, if it's 50-50, does the child benefit not get split 50-50? Or the working tax? Why can't the parent that left claim for CSA? And because it's not out there a lot and people don't talk about it, probably a lot of men don't know that, am I even allowed to apply for child benefit? Can I go to the CSA first? Why aren't we helping them? Why are we leaving them in the dark? And then somehow in the end the kids will suffer, because the guy either gets, again, generically, the person will either get sad and down about it, knowing this isn't a life, like how can I provide a life for my kids? Or the other parent with the children, they know if they're one of those type of people who aren't very nice with no conscience, they can withhold the kids, like, no, you're not seeing them. You're not seeing them till you pay me this. You're not seeing them till you pay me that. And we all know that whatever this, in regards to the CSA payments, we all know in reality that £400 odd a month is not enough to look after 3 children. We know that. But obviously, you choose to split up. You've chose to keep the kids. Don't choose to complain that they're too expensive to look after. How do you know that other parent doesn't want them? And I know this parent would love to be a full-time stay-at-home dad. Well, it's not even stay-at-home. He still wants to be a part-time working dad, but be there as much as he can for his son. And he should be able to, because women get that choice. Women won't get questioned about it when they go to work, but he does. Takes him to school on a Monday and he gets questioned why he's late. He's explained it to them, and they still dock his pay, which then affects his bonuses, which then affects everything else. So it's a big knock-on effect, and the only person it's hurting truly is the kid, because no estranged parent should have to tell their child, oh, I can't come and see you this weekend because I don't have enough diesel, or I can't come and see you this weekend because then I haven't paid a bill. And most of that debt's probably from the relationship, and why it lands on the man, I don't know. But I think there needs to be a bit more help and support for males out there who are going through divorces or major breakdowns in their situation. I don't just mean if you've been with someone a couple of weeks and you break up. People who've got shared bills and shared loans and shared houses and shared children. And if you are one of these males, don't give up. Don't think it's not worth it. Don't think that they're better off with you not seeing you, because that's not the case. And hopefully, if they are getting brought up correctly, they'll understand. Just give them time, they'll understand. And as long as you're doing all you can, that's all you can do. And if that's just to keep safe and to just plod along, just do that for now, because it'll all be worthwhile in the end. And the CSA, or it's not even the CSA now, is it? Is it CMA? Something like that. They really need to think about the stress and strain they're putting on some single, well, you don't have to be single, some separated parents. To you, it's a business. That's the CSA, I mean. To you, it's a business. But what you're failing to see is people's lives. People trying to get up in the morning, go to work, and then waiting for the weekend and having fun with their children. But to you, it's just a business. It's about ticking boxes, getting as much money as you can. And the government, I don't know whether they're too scared or whether it's too complicated, but they don't want to take any part or any role or anything to do with it. How bad's that? If it's not working, change it. It's already been changed once to this system, and this system doesn't seem any better. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't seem fair. Life isn't fair, I know that. But for some people, it seems that they're never getting that hand offered to them to be like, look, I'll help you up. Here's the first step. It's always, nope, knock out from underneath of you. But yeah, maybe that's just me. And again, maybe I shouldn't, because people will say I'm not a feminist, or I'm an unfeminist thing to say. But again, it goes for males or females. When there's a breakup, I was just using my friend as an example who's male, but and also being a friend of someone who you see going through that, who when you go in and you see in their fridge they've got mouldy butter or bread and they're already stick thin and they need help, and they get offered food banks, yep, that's great. Some people have got too much pride, and I know it sucks. But to see him then also only have one light on in the house because he knows the electric bill, or he knows he's in debt to them, knowing that possibly a debt collector could come round, and the stress he goes through. And adding on top of that, he doesn't have a family that he can go to for like help, and a lot of people don't, and especially when it's about money. But he doesn't even have family to talk to about it, to just vent to, and it's horrible. Which is why there's a very high rate of people unaliving themselves because of the mess ups people have made with the CSA. That's not right. Because if that was a normal average everyday person, we'd get put in jail for that if somebody unalived themselves because of an action that we caused. But this is a legal way to do that, a legal way to F people over. And yeah, that's the end of that basically. But yeah, maybe it's just me. But I hope everyone's having a good weekend. And yeah, have a good one.